Dun, dun, dun,
What?
dun, 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 dun,
Read
dun.
Mark or Dortmund.
We actually the introduction, redoing the introduction.
Refreshing.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Roker Rapport podcast. We are now at episode 75, though the last episode was not named because it was our Stuart Donald episode, which I'm sure you all listened to, and most of you, I'm glad you've came back, to be honest. So this week we're joined by far less interesting guests than last time.
Excuse me.
We've got the non-Irish Paddy. How are you doing?
Not too bad.
Are you disappointed you didn't qualify for the World Cup?
Oh, I'm gutted.
Yeah, you're not getting in the spirit.
We're all mocking for being Irish, but it's not.
To be fair, James Nichols, you're Russian. You're a Russian fan, aren't you?
Da.
I presume that means yes.
Yaluski fanatic. But hello, Connor.
Hi.
Good to be here.
So, are you excited for the World Cup?
I can't wait. I'll be going over in a week's time. I'm absolutely ecstatic.
That's why I did that there, so he could drop in the fact he was going. Where are you staying?
Moscow and St. Petersburg.
Nice.
Different parts.
Nice.
Can't wait for it.
Who do you want to win?
England, of course.
We're all buying that.
I want England to do as well as possible. I think Brazil will win, but I just want Russia to not
got
lose
Brazil,
every single game and I'll be fine.
Russia haven't won since like October.
Russia are shit.
Yeah, they're really, really bad. Although I do like
really
Golovin.
They've got to beat Saudi Arabia, though.
That's the thing. That's
The opening
we'll know.
game?
Yeah, the first game,
Yeah.
they've got such an easy opening game. They've got an easy group, to be fair.
I think Saudi Arabia
Yeah,
will
they
beat
have.
them.
Yeah, it's not.
Saudi Arabia are going to beat Russia.
You think?
Yeah.
To be fair, England's got like a piss easy group.
Oh, apart from Belgium.
Yeah, I don't, they're going to beat Tunisia and Panama. It'll be fine.
That was a bold statement, Connor.
They will, I swear. Right, Chris Cam, how's things?
Oh, not bad. I'm actually French. Dans le bibliothèque, like. So, not
Right.
really. I wouldn't admit to being French on a podcast.
Right.
Never. No, I'm alright. I just feel like I was missing out on the international flavour because I'm really just boring. I'm
Well,
from
I'm-
Sunderland, so.
I'm taking England. I actually always support the home nations, to be honest.
It's probably
I used to support the.
They're not in the World Cup.
I used to support the home nations, but then I found out they all hate us.
Yeah, they
So I'm
do.
like, do you know what?
They do,
Fuck
don't
them.
they?
I'm not wasting my time on
I
that.
still enjoy supporting the home nations. I liked it when Wales were doing so well. I was cheering them on. I was
Yeah,
honest.
They were great at the last Euros. Just,
Yeah, it was.
They were entertaining to
inspiring.
watch, like,
Yeah.
but I didn't like Chris Coleman whatsoever. He really did me head in. All the press conferences and that, I thought he was like, what a cocky prick. He's a half good manager who's got an unbelievable player and he's sleepwalking his way to the semi-finals, and then he was Sunderland and I was like, hey, we're best manager I've had in ages.
Right. Well, this isn't the World Cup podcast. We are actually having World Cup podcast though, but James obviously won't be part of it because he's away in Russia.
It'll be a Roman reporter.
You'll be a Roman report.
On
We'll
the
call you
streets.
in.
Do the collie
We'll
more.
call you in.
Journalist, as I
On
get
the
shouted at
scene.
by hooligans.
Journalist.
So first things first, we're going to talk a wee bit about the Dortmund model, mainly because James Nichols wrote an article today. Or was it went up today?
Yesterday.
Yesterday. It was good. It was a decent article, though some people thought it was shit.
We've got made to explain it just for the people who didn't read it. really.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
do you want to just explain give a brief overview of what the Dortmund model
So-
is?
Stuart Donald and Charlie Methven first mentioned this on the last podcast. They said that they were asked by yourself, Connor, if they wanted to follow a model on anyone. And I think we mentioned like a couple of League One teams who have
It was a
since
great question.
went back to the brilliant who went back to the
Had
Premier League.
layers.
Southampton was one that was mentioned. There was I think it was Leicester City were mentioned as well, like follow their
Wolves,
models,
I
their
think.
ideas. And Donald actually came out and straight away and he just said, I think the team we'd like to follow a model upon is Borussia Dortmund. And then discussed how Dortmund don't even try and compete financially with Bayern Munich, but because of the way they're set up, they can compete on the pitch with them. And that's essentially Dortmund in the 90s had like a golden age, Das Goldene Zeitalter, which is basically that they won the
Is that
Champions
German
League.
for Paul Lambert?
He scored the winner scored in the Champions League final, didn't he?
He did. That's what I'm saying.
They won the Champions League final in 97. They won 2 Bundesliga titles and runner-up of the Bundesliga and runner-up of the UEFA Cup, all during the 90s, with the captain Matthias Sammer basically just being absolutely brilliant for them. But they went into financial disrepute, kept buying big-name players, Torsten Frings, Thomas Rosicky, Everton, all these players for massive money, massive wages, and just couldn't sustain it. Got massive debts. I think the debts were well over 150 million euros at the time, which is incredible for the turn of the century.
So how can you even... You have to be consciously trying to build up that much
Yeah,
debt.
it's unbelievable. And then they went so badly into debt they had to accept a €2 million loan off Bayern Munich, which is like us accepting a loan of Newcastle just to keep the club alive. And
nice.
then in 2005, 2004, I believe it was, off the top of my head. They had 444 investors were invited to like a massive conference in Dortmund city centre. And it was basically a sales pitch to invest in the club, to save them. They were in the end, I think they were 2 days from going insolvent, just about, and the banks coming and asking for the debt. And it was essentially Dortmund approaching these investors and saying, look, we're going to change the way everything's been going. We're not going to spend big anymore. We're not going to rely on big names. We're going to focus on the inside instead of focusing on the outside and just make ourselves better, make our ship steady, and then from there use that to build back to the great times that they were once at in the 90s.
So how do you think, in your expert opinion, how do you believe that Sunderland will implement that Dortmund model? Do you think it's all going to be academy-based?
I think the academy is a central part of it. The academy was the main part of Dortmund's rebuilding process. Now, Dortmund, of course, obviously now can afford 30, 40, 50 million pound players, but that's because they spend within the means, and they spent within the means for a decade. They've recorded a 134 million euro profit since 2011, and on average, they get 134 million euros on average each season in revenue. They've recorded a 300 million euro profit since 2011 in the last 7 years. From player sales, from basically strong recruitment, but that was based on their academy system. To buy, you've got to sell, and I know people don't like calling Sunderland a selling club, but every single team outside the top 6 of the Premier League is a selling club these days.
But even look like Spurs. Spurs are a selling club, aren't they?
Yeah.
That's the great debate with them.
Yeah, it's hierarchical.
I think all football clubs. I mean, Man United sold Cristiano Ronaldo. I mean, every single team will sell a player if
I
the
thought it
price
was
is right.
interesting thinking about Liverpool, because I always had the opinion going at the Champions League final that Liverpool are great and their system's great and their team's great and their players play together really well, everything suits them, but when it comes to that extra step that they need to compete Real Madrid, I don't think they'll ever do that, because it's not the Dortmund model that they have, because they still buy, but they don't do it on the same level as the Madrids and the PSGs of this world. And I'd argue that they'd probably struggle to ever win that.
They also can't compete in terms of marketing.
Yeah.
I mean, Real Madrid, Man United, Barcelona are the richest and biggest clubs in the world. They sell more shirt sales in China than I think Man United on their own sell more shirt sales in China than the rest of English football added together.
That's crazy.
It's something along. I think it's either Manchester United and Manchester City, 2 Manchester clubs, but it's unbelievable. But Dortmund, because of they're spending, but they're focused on their academy at first. I was going to take a deep breath because it's basically a conveyor belt of genuine top class talent, and this is not people who have went in the academy. Like Joel Asoro is a Sunderland academy player, but he won't be classed as an academy graduate because it wasn't 2 or 3 years before he turned 18. So these are people who we signed him from a Swedish academy team, Noppagoring, I believe it was, and then because of that, he's not actually a Sunderland academy player, even though he's developed from our academy. So this list is just ridiculous. It's from most recent: Christian Pulisic, Antonio Rudiger, Mario Goetze, Shinji Kagawa, Marco Reus, Marcel Schmelzer, Nuri Sahin, Kevin Grosskreutz, Florian Kringer, and Ibrahim Tanko. All of them have played Champions League level football in the last decade or so, and over 50 players have graduated since the Dortmund model was officially announced at this press conference to form careers within professional football. They've all played at least 50 appearances in first team football in Germany or abroad or wherever in the top division.
Scary.
That's incredible.
And now
We wonder why Germany can afford to drop Sane. It's weird, isn't it?
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
that was just unbelievable. It's everyone's saying, "Oh yeah, he's been dropped in that," but if you just look at that squad,
To be fair, he's got 1 assist in 12 games or something.
yeah,
so.
he hasn't done too well on
I mean, he
the
is
national
shit,
stage.
really,
has he?
I could just say Jogi Löw is a bit insane.
Oh, yeah.
But Dortmund
That was just such a nerdy moment for all of us.
I love good puns. It won't be the Dijon mustard one with Djilabodji though. But Dortmund now have added to that. They've done the Asoro, so Dembele, Jadon Sancho have joined from France and Manchester City. Sorry, I completely forgot. It was Dembele's old team, off the top of my head. I'll say Toulouse. And then Alexander Isak and Dan Axel Zagadou have both left from AIK and PSG. These are hugely rated players, amongst some of the highest rated players under the age of 18 in the world. And they've all left to go to Dortmund. They've all left completely different cities, completely different cultures, all to go to Borussia Dortmund because they know they'll get through. It's known as Die Wunderkind Fabrik, which is the German for the Wunderkid factory.
Is it one of them cases, though, where, it's all well and good trying to say you're going to copy this model, but like, how do you actually implement something that's obviously worked so well? Like, it's going to be very difficult for us to get that right.
I think
Got to get the right
worry
people
will be
involved.
is the short-term success of the team on the pitch. Is it's going to be investing inwards and worry about football later. I think that's what's going to be the big stumbling block for Sunderland fans and for the club, is that we're going to be looking at making sure everything's great inside, and then we'll worry about winning football matches after that.
But we've tried a couple of models. We've tried the Udinese model under Defanti with
Well, that worked.
Angeloni, the head scout, and then we
We've got
tried
Cabral.
the Ajax model under Reed when the Stadium Light was first built. That's why Ajax played there, because Reed was such a big admirer of Ajax's game in the
That
way they work. Yeah. Neither of which worked. The Ajax model got scrapped as soon as Reedy got sacked, and then the Udinese model was just horrendous because every single time, to Defanti's credit, I hate him, or more so Angeloni's credit, who was a half-decent scout, that every single first-choice player they tried to sign, they messed up in some way, and then the replacements were just not good enough. The Udinese model is similar. You scout everywhere very early, and you've got like more scouts in the club than you do coaches or anything else, and you get these players in for cheap, develop them, then sell them on. So it's kind of very similar to the Dortmund one, where it's looking for other ways. Like you've FC Midtjylland try the Moneyball model, which is statistically trying to go out and get the cheapest players. Brentford follow it, who no one's ever heard of, and develop them. It's all ways of trying to compete without having to have the massive financial burden. We could do that, and that's because Michael Zorc, who's the sporting director of Borussia Dortmund, so he said, quote, we try to find extraordinary players when they are not at their peak. We develop them then, and at some time know they will eventually move on. That's easier now than it is in the Championship or the Premier League. Both of these were in the Premier League when we tried to do it before. You can't do that in the Premier League because of the risks, because of the cost of falling out. There's just, you can't lead that sort of rebuild when you're in the Premier League. Ironically, I don't think you can if you're in the Championship, because the Championship to me is just a Premier League 2 now.
You've just got to like put out fires, don't you? When you're in the Premier League and Championship, it's a case of like, right, okay, we need a striker, we'll buy a striker.
It's like just fill in the
can't-
gap.
yeah.
And
It's amazing how many teams have got promoted from the Championship by just having like the best striker in the division.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
yeah, but then
Like-
if you look at like how many sort of the best striker in the Championship have gone to the Premier League, and then it just hasn't worked out for them.
Yeah,
You know,
Nugent.
it's just happened so many times where it just can't, the form can't be repeated in the Premier League.
It's
Just
like,
'cause it's just
look at like Cardiff. Like they'll have came up this year, but they've got like no plan. Like,
No.
what is the Cardiff City plan? There isn't one. Like they went up because of good free agent
Yeah.
signings.
I'd personally
Neil
sack
Warnock even
Warnock.
said he's going to leave.
I'd sack Warnock if I was Cardiff owner, Vincent Tan.
he won't keep them up. Definitely
No,
not.
no, I
He
don't.
said he said if he senses them falling away, then he's just going to leave and let them hire someone else.
I think if I was Neil Warnock right now and I was listening to this podcast, I would definitely buy in Dong for like 10 million. I think he'd be a shrewd signing. He's very competent. He can run.
Lovely
Yeah.
hair.
Good hair.
He makes Lee Catmull
he's
look
quick.
decent.
Yeah, he made Lee Catmull look.
That's,
Like
that's
for about
special.
10 minutes.
In fact, it was so good that Lee Catmull looked really bad
To be
next
fair,
to
he
him. which-
fits Cardiff perfectly, because all Cardiff players do is run and kick. That's
Yeah.
all they played last season. Just ran and
Describing
kicked.
football. I think
It's got like some of those negative football in the Championship, and they've got them to second.
They did. They came to the Stadium Light and they were just playing for time the whole game. Literally, as the first minute, it's 0-0. I was like, well, we'll take the draw, lads. We'll take the draw. Nothing
Good
more.
point away from home.
It's funny because I love it when we'd play like that. Like I love proper shit out of other teams, but they do it to us. It's like, hey, it's like, I hate Tony Pulis, but if he was Sunderland manager,
When was the last time? I can't actually think. The last time Sunderland won away from home, where they did like a professional away performance in quotation marks.
Oh, no, it's always spectacular when we win. Like,
Yeah, only one I can think of is Nottingham Forest last
Forest
year,
away,
where
I
we
was
won
about to say
1-0.
that, yeah.
But
Yeah,
apart
he
from
scored
that,
the header.
That was quite sort of risk.
we got the draw against Wolves.
oh, got a
Oh,
draw.
yeah.
That was
That was
a
10 men as well.
professional one.
High Cats got
He
sent off.
got sent off
Yeah,
today.
he did. Funny enough, didn't Ndong actually get sent off against Cardiff?
Yes.
Didn't he play like an
Yeah.
absolutely terrible game? So why are you interested?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that fits in the model. Maybe that's their model.
He's
by
good on,
players
he's
who
good
get
on
sent
Football
off.
Manager.
He's
Maybe
decent on
Warnock's
FIFA
just
as
a
well.
big FM fan.
Is he not? I would actually recommend, just as a slight aside, that you put Sunderland in League One on FIFA and
Oh,
do
yeah,
the
you've
promotions.
done that, haven't you?
I've
Yeah.
done that
And
on Football
put
Manager.
the financial takeover on as well. Yeah, thing is with Football Manager is like I look at Football Manager as a realistic simulator. It just irritates us that the transfers aren't done. Whereas FIFA, I just like, well, you know what? I mean,
You just like sign ridiculous players who shouldn't be there
I
at all.
signed Jadon Sancho for them, and I was like, yeah, League One, that'll do. Tammy Abraham, On loan.
Sorry, Abraham.
Yeah, I got him on loan.
I haven't played FIFA in 4.5 years or something, 5 years.
That makes you a loser.
I'm fine with that.
You'll notice a big difference. So
Yeah.
I used to get them like every year, then I missed a couple of years out, and I went back to it. No, it's just like this is just. I can see a difference now.
I missed 1 year, and honestly, I've never been the same FIFA player since. I used to be able to take anyone. I'm not saying I would beat them all, but I used to be able to take them. Now, useless. My mum could beat us.
The best thing about the most recent FIFA is that you can impose a Dortmund model. Do you know how you do that?
Nah.
Well, it's about bringing back civic pride to the club. Getting back on topic.
Oh, right, okay, I see. I was like, how do you do that? Please let me know. I have never done that before. It's like, you can get youth scouts, but I haven't really looked at it
Turn the
beyond
volume
that.
up at that point, you can actually hear the cogs in Connor's head going.
Yeah,
louder.
Tick. It's a
Yeah.
little tick.
So, are we done with the Dortmund model, or is there any
Well,
more to
there's
discuss?
one more thing, really. It's
Go on
just-
then.
It's not like we're going to do this, it's going to work, and they're going to be the best team in the world.
What?
We're going to.
That was the dream I was sold.
We're going to win the Europe.
The Europe. We're going to play in Milan.
Yeah, 46-game winning streak next season, 138 points, just because we said we're going to do what Dortmund do. But
That's
no,
some good
it
maths.
kind of fits Sunderland. Like Donald and Method themselves, and Jack Ross actually spoke about it on the recent Wise Men Say podcast. He mentioned Dortmund as well, and it's just a good model to follow. It's unparalleled. No one's done it again. No one's done it since, and no one probably will. But it's just it's a good way of doing businesses that other clubs can follow, and we can follow that. I mean, the main thing for them is that it's a pathway from the academy to the first team. It's about the civic pride. Dortmund's a working class city. The only other thing they're proud about the football team is that they've got the biggest tree in Europe, Christmas tree in Europe or something like that.
No way.
Yeah, you'd
Because it
love
just stays there all the time.
Yeah, it's there all the time, Connor.
That's interesting. It's not really a Christmas tree then, though. Surely.
Tree.
Surely. It's a tree then. How can it be the biggest Christmas tree if you don't chop it down?
This is why we need to do video podcasts.
Yes.
So we just have.
Oh, we do that.
Close zoom on
We do
Nicole's
actually
face
do
there.
have a YouTube channel. Just saying. So it's not really the biggest Christmas tree. It's the biggest tree.
It's the biggest Christmas tree.
How is it the biggest Christmas tree? A Christmas tree has to be knocked down,
You
surely.
just offended
not there all year
like,
round.
the whole city now by just saying that their biggest Christmas tree isn't a Christmas tree.
It can't be a Christmas tree.
You're never welcome in Dortmund if
Some-
you end up going there.
Somebody Google,
I feel
like,
we're
does
not
a
gonna be welcome
Christmas
in
tree...
Dortmund if any of this in this
The
podcast.
Christmas tree is a model.
So Sunderland are going to adopt the Christmas tree model.
Yeah.
We're going to play the Christmas tree. What's
Have
that?
a massive
4-3?
Christmas tree. Gus Poyet's going to turn the lights on every single year.
I'll take that.
But
So, essentially, though, we're at a clean slate.
yeah.
And this is the time to implement it. We couldn't really do it any other time.
Something like this, we've got a chance to do it. The young players are hopefully going to stay, at least as many of them as possible. People with the right attitudes who want to play for the club more than anything else. I mean, we've already got state-of-the-art facilities. Our academy is absolutely brilliant. There's not many academies in the country better.
Especially in the northeast, and that's our recruitment pool.
I mean,
Yeah.
how many players have we got from Newcastle under the noses? Like Paul Thirlwell's from Gateshead, Jack Colback's from Killingworth, Louis Lang's from Gosforth. These should be going to Newcastle. But the scouts are shit, and the academy's even worse. The academy's basically broken. It's awful. Players...
We should get Michael Martin on this. That'd be perfect. He would love to be on a Sunderland podcast
would.
and
He
like
would.
slate Mike Ashley while we'll to bring in a bit of finances. Perfect.
I'm
Sprinkle it in.
forget he exists.
Yeah, to be honest, I actually like as a call to all Sunderland fans, just don't click on his articles. He only puts them on so
Yeah.
that we
Yeah.
click them, and then he sells advertising. over.
He does it for the
Yeah,
attention.
definitely.
He's a
and he
genius.
gets lots of it.
Yeah, he actually has marketed himself
He
beautifully.
does. Like, he
Yeah,
does it
he's-
for all the attention, and he gets lots
He's
of
like
attention for
the
it.
Geordie Daily Mail, isn't he?
There was a just as an aside, there's a Newcastle fans TV video that is a reaction to Charlie Methven's comments that Newcastle are an arrogant club.
Oh, is that Lee Lawler?
It's like 9 minutes.
Lee Lawler's hilarious.
No,
Oh,
it's 9
God.
minutes.
If any's also a message to Sunderland fans, if you want to laugh at Newcastle fans, just go on Lee Lawler's YouTube channel. It's hilarious. It's just some angry, deluded mag who just sits there and gets pissed off over nothing with a bed. He's a 40-year-old man, 30, 40 at least. He's got a bedroom full of like Newcastle posters and flags and shit. It's
Almost
awful.
getting a bit slanderous now. I'm just.
like a bit
I'll offer a bit of support. Like
Allegedly.
I like Newcastle fans
Allegedly.
TV.
But
It's a good outlet.
yeah, we need. I just think the Dortmund model.
So's
Like, I like
fan TV.
I like how the owners and the manager are all on the same page about the idea of where they want the club to go. Now, I got some messages from Newcastle fans being like, "Oh, you're deluded with the fucking thing going to be Dortmund." No, we don't. We just know this is the right way of doing business. It's this model that Sunderland can follow.
That's the difference. So it's like we don't want to be Borussia Dortmund. We want to be Sunderland.
Exactly.
We don't need to be no secondary team.
I
said
can't
that-
think of anything that would make Sunderland fans prouder than seeing a like a local lad wearing a captain's armband winning a football match. I think that would, you know what I mean? That's what it boils down to. And you can make it happen by following that sort of model. It doesn't have to be to the T. We don't have to change our kit to yellow and black. We just have to
away kit though.
Invest properly.
Be nice.
Ooh, tell you what, I would wear a yellow and black kit. Like,
but it's like, as you said, like, it's so good. Just obviously we've said about it's like each time we sack a manager, like it's never felt like a clean slate because we've always had the same ownership team, the same backroom staff. But now, like obviously, you know, there was in the news today that obviously Stockdale's gone, and then you know obviously some of the players are starting to leave. We've got a new manager, new owners. Like this actually feels like a clean slate, and it's such a relief. It's just a shame that it's taken us to get relegated twice to things like to finally sort of look more positive, really.
Yeah, like for the sake of us having a clean slate and starting again, going fresh start, I'm really pleased for that. But like, obviously, I'm not like happy for the people who've lost their jobs and whatever, because they're talking about the rotten core and that. I don't know, right? As much as we've been bad for this long, I don't know if it's John O'Shea and Lee Cattlemore's fault. I don't know if it's Robbie Stockdale's fault. You know what I mean? I'm not going to just go ahead and assume that, and because you know I've been there in the past and I've like gone like, do you know what? We just need to rip them out and just get them out, like they're the problem. You don't know what the problem was, but the fact is, in order to get this clean slate, we have to get rid of everybody, and it's brutal and it's unfair on a few people or a lot of people. But
it's the thing. It's never the
for the
people
benefit
who just work at the club.
of the club.
It's a complete rebuild. I mean, it's not even just the players on the pitch; it's outside. Like I said earlier, the academy's state of the art, but it's utilised wrong. Like our academies basically. They don't develop players for players' development. They develop players for the academy development. What I mean by that is that all they care about is winning matches. Generally, not all. They obviously want developed players. Look how good they have done. But one of the main aims is to keep winning and keep staying in that Premier League, that under-23 Premier League bracket, which they got relegated from this season. But that's why they kept so many players on loan here when they could have been given chances to develop elsewhere. In Dortmund, one of the main things they do is that it's not about winning matches. It doesn't matter if they lose 2-0 or win 6-0. Every single player has been given an individual target of something where they must improve their game. Say the passes percentage ratio. The centre midfielder needs to have a better passes percentage ratio than the last game. All it's about is about individual improvement within the team to improve yourself, to improve the whole. It's not just about the score at the final end. Of course, it matters, but
you can't force a winning mentality on a young player as well. Like that has to come from them. If a player doesn't have that drive and a winning mentality, then they're just not going to make it. You can't then try and force it on them. All you need to do is improve their fundamental skills, their technique, and then send them out on loan, which is where they earn that understanding of the game. And then by the time they hit that 20, 21-year-old mark, that's when they're ready to win things. You know, Arsene Wenger spoke about at length about his philosophy on raising like young players, and it's all about like bringing them in, teaching them the key fundamentals, and then you can teach them the skills that make them stand out, and then they learn the game after that. Like you don't force the winning upon kids.
They can help. They can get an ethos in, the Sunderland ethos into some players. Like George Honeyman knows what it's about being a Sunderland fan. He's been going to Sunderland matches since he was a little kid. He's a Sunderland player. He's a Sunderland fan through and through. Lyndon Gooch, on the other hand, came from Santa Cruz at the age of 10. Came over to Sunderland part-time with his dad every summer, and then finally moved over at 16. And I remember in an interview on SCFC.com, he was praising like Borley and praising the academy and the side that they taught them the work ethos that requires you to play for Sunderland, to work hard. They used to make them go and just clean the dressing rooms on their own. Like that's old school. Not many academies do that anymore. That was
the other thing Wenger said. He said the difference between the players who fall apart and fall away and the players who go on to be great are the ones who work hard. And that's like, remember when just to pull a random example, like when Frank Lampard was at West Ham and Redknapp had that famous press conference where he said like this will be future England captain and that. Well, that was because Lampard was the one who was staying behind after the games doing that. Like that's the type of thing we need to be worrying about, and not whether or not we've beaten Tottenham's under 23s.
We've got the structure here to be better than what we are, to be much better than what we are. It's a kind of a cliche that Sunderland are a sleeping giant, but there's nothing more true about that. That's exactly what the club is. There's the facilities, the size of the club, the size of the fan base, the size of everything. It's much bigger than it should be right now. And it's at the lowest ebb for another 30 years, but that won't be forever. And we need to find a way where we can utilise this potential and make it into something. And now, for one, I'm delighted with the Donald, Methven and Ross, because for the first time in a long time, I'm proud to be a Sunderland fan. Now, I've always been proud to be a Sunderland fan in the sense like they're my team. I'm going to follow them everywhere.
You're proud of what the club's actually doing, though.
Yeah, it's for the first time we can have a conversation with people who are other club fans of other clubs, instead of just being like, oh yeah, I'm a Sunderland fan, yeah, okay.
And getting that typical like, oh, sorry mate, that
Yeah.
must be bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Just
all
get
right,
over
yeah.
sympathy.
No, it's like, no, sorry, piss off. As
Worst
Nathan
one.
said, piss off. No, we're Sunderland.
Yeah, I used to work in a pub and I had a West Ham fan come up. A West Ham fan, and he was giving me sympathy for supporting Sunderland. He supports fucking, how tragic is that? He supports West Ham.
It's in the Premier League.
Absolute tragedy.
Your taxes pay for their stadium, so you
I know.
Who's
Can't
the
even
loser
afford
there?
your own stuff.
Right. Are we all done on the Dortmund model? We're moving on
Yeah.
to the second section. There is 3 sections to this show, nicely labelled in bold. So this is going to be a lot of questions about transfers. So the mighty Quinn, who called me Chris on Twitter, my name is Connor. Which I'm surprised he doesn't know. Like, of all the Roker reporters, I'm the one who slaps my face on like everything. Like, if there's a camera there, like I'm there.
That's a lot of face to slap on.
And yeah, that there. Most people are laughing. I'm guessing it was derogatory.
Yeah, we'll just leave it. You can hear it
so
later.
there's a topic, a quick 5-minute topic. In reality, how many players will Jack need? I presume it means Jack Ross, not Rodwell. To bring the club
swear jar.
to bring to the club to gain promotion on the first time of asking.
First time of asking.
So how many players do we need? I think 15.
I was thinking about at least a dozen.
Yeah, at least, between 12 and 15.
Which is why I don't
16.
think we'll
It's gonna
win the league easily. If we do win the league, it'll be through magic.
Well,
I think.
we've got no centre backs,
Gonna
no
do these
senior
jobs,
centre
man.
backs.
No, yeah, that's what we.
We'll only win the league if everybody else in League One is just absolutely shite.
They don't have Don Love.
It's true. I
That's
mean,
it,
Don
we do
Love.
have-
Love is all we need.
The thing is, if you actually look at our defence, like Kone is going to be away probably. I
Yeah.
suspect.
O'Shea's
Dilla
gone.
Bodgy, he'll be
Yeah.
away. O'Shea's gone. Beelan's gone. Jay Clark's obviously alone. We actually have no centre backs. Like,
Yeah,
not
we
one.
don't have
We've
a.
got,
We do not have a
Adam
single
Matthews and
centre-half.
Donald Love on like either fullback. And apart from
But
that,
then we've got Denver Hume, who's about like 4-year-old,
Yeah.
so he can't play.
and Oviedo
What
will
about
go as
there's
well.
Billy Jones as well? He's knocking around, isn't he?
No, he's
Is he,
out
or-
of contract.
Is he? Oh,
Yeah, thank God for that.
Finished.
that's the nicest thing
I
I've
got
heard
hammered
today.
on Twitter, right? So I said on one of my YouTube videos, I was like, right, Billy Jones was okay in the Premier League for West Brom, and then I proceeded to like lay into him for his time at Sunderland, and somebody was like, I can't take your opinion seriously because you said Billy Jones is okay in the Premier League. I was like,
He
well,
was alright for West Brom.
I was gonna say he
he
did
was.
okay. That's
Yeah.
why we signed him
Yeah,
because he
like,
did okay.
He was nothing outstanding, but he literally just did the job for West Brom.
Yeah.
So if he can do that for us, then good.
The thing is, the
last 10, like 5, at least roughly 10 years, we've spent trying to sign a right back who was better than Bardsley.
Yeah,
It didn't
Imagine
work
that, like
for
Bardsley.
ages.
Bardsley was shit.
He was not very good. He was all right, but the amount of times I've watched mediocre Premier
Yeah.
League winger go past him like he wasn't
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
there.
Like we've got Chimbonda for a little while in, we've got Hutton for a little while. Like Bardsley survived all of this.
Wayne
like,
Bridge, he was left back when he.
No, we
he
left
was.
back there.
And Alan Hutton, to be fair, did kick him out the team because
And then we
Bardsley
sold
played
him, it
left
got
back
even
there.
worse.
yeah. But I think what helped with Bardsley was like he'd score the odd really good goal. And I think that would make some people think like, oh, he's scoring goals fine. But
Oh,
he's not
yeah.
there to score goals. He's there to like stop wingers.
He
you know?
used to, Bardsley used to infuriate me because he used to always make a mistake, but then he would recover
Yeah.
and he would always get praised. What a last ditch
Yeah.
tackle! People would be clapping.
Like,
him,
he
like,
shouldn't be making the last.
Yeah, like,
he shouldn't be herring out, staring at the heels of Sean Wright Phillips going down the left wing.
So you shouldn't have had to track back and
yeah,
get
you
tackling
should
anyway.
have
you should have
just
got the job
been
done in the first
position.
place.
Yeah. So.
He has scored the best goal I've ever seen, and that was not by any means any
Oh,
like
do you mean the? I was thinking.
thing to him.
Semi-final.
Semi-final.
Yeah.
I was thinking.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, what?
Like
That's
straight
so
down to here, and De Gea shovels it in the net. Like,
John when De Gea was shit as well. That
Yeah,
was that
he was-
season.
He was
That
dreadful.
was Moyes, that man. Davy Moyes. Right, so anyway, we need a number. So I've said 15, you said at least a dozen. So I'll
Yeah.
be 12,
I'll go with 13.
13.
we
Nichols.
just need to clone Don Love 10 times, and we'll be fine.
Do you only think
Trying
10?
to count
Nah.
the players that we need, right? So we need.
Yeah, it's a full rebuild.
Oh, we need one keeper at
I'll
least.
take Matthews and Love at fullback.
You still need another 2 fullbacks.
So yeah, so another two fullbacks, 4 centre halves,
Yeah.
At
and
least.
then
you got
a
the goalkeeper. Yeah.
because Steele can sit on the bench, can't he? Yeah.
We're actually okay in
And
centre
then we
mid
need
provided we
Out
keep
is
making
the
it.
centre mid.
Chinese
We've got
Amsterdam.
McNair, we've got
Gooch.
Catmull.
Would you play Gooch there still?
Yeah,
I'd probably
Gooch,
play
Honeyman.
Gooch a bit further up, and Honeyman would play in there. I think in midfield.
Embleton,
I'd play Embleton some minutes this season, but I
Robson.
wouldn't.
Well, I
force
like
him.
Robson.
Robson will
I
get
hope Robson
minutes.
gets a good run. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
we'll
think-
probably
I think
need
we'll
a
play.
centre midfielder.
Yeah.
We'll need like
Yeah.
a senior midfielder who's got
Wingers.
some legs under him still.
It depends if you keep, because if they keep McGeady, which I mean, I wouldn't really be
Ah,
opposed
fuck
to that.
that.
And I
Sorry.
think you tear it from that.
I don't think he'll stay though. Like even if you want him to, I can see him going to some championship.
Yeah,
club.
you'll get a bailout. If anything jumps up, I think McGee will be gone.
Yeah.
He's not
I'm
going to
say
stay in
we
League
need another 2 wingers anyway because
And we need
We just
Probably
do. And
3
then,
strikers.
yeah, I mean, we've got Josh
Yeah, we need at
Madger,
least a
Joel
player in every
Asoro, who's
position.
probably going to play as a
But
winger.
I was going to say Joel Soro would be left wing, won't he?
Yeah, he'll be a winger, and Madger won't get enough
Do you think
minutes,
the
really.
Season.
Do you think we'll keep hold of the Soto, or do you think it'll be away?
I think he'll probably be away. If they can't get him signed with a new
It
contract,
depends how he's
Yeah.
responded to Donald and Meffin going up to London saying, like, listen,
Yeah.
you're not leaving unless we get money for
I
you.
actually
Yeah.
think that Joel Asoro wants to stay. I don't believe for 1 minute that he's going to be actively looking, but I think he's
Yeah.
got a knobhead agent.
I reckon he's got a knobhead agent, because most people do, but I reckon he's
And my
also...
agent's not a knobhead.
He'll definitely be of the opinion that if, like, a club in the Championship or Premier League come in for him, he'll want to go.
Yeah.
Can't really blame him.
If I was Sunderland, to be fair, I would try and sell him to like a lower Premier League team who might actually play him so they can get that
Things
sell-on
are-
fee.
there's
I'd
only a
have,
few,
I'd have a massive sell-on fee
Yeah,
on
like
Joel Asoro,
30,
because he's got
40%.
potential.
there's only a few teams in the Premier League at the minute who'd buy him. Realistically, I can see him going to someone in the Championship, and then, as you said, put in a sell-on clause, because if he does end up at a bigger club, 3, 4, 5 years down the line.
Well,
He's a proper Leeds United signing.
one of the
really.
things I was thinking though with him is the sort of money we'd want for him. I don't think any Championship club could afford to pay that for potential.
Yeah.
And then I think any Premier League team will think that he probably isn't good enough to play in the Premier League. So I think
He might be
he's,
a bit-
he's one of them awkward ones where he
Yeah.
probably just isn't quite good enough to get the money that we want. So I don't know if that'll happen.
He's not
obviously-
good enough yet.
No, if he
I
has
still like him though.
another season with us, I think maybe, I know obviously he's in the lower league down, but if he gets some attention in there, goes up to score like
If he has a season,
goals.
if he has a season where he gets like maybe double figures in goals or assists, and then like a decent tally on the
Yeah.
other side,
that'll get him some attention.
and scores at least one worldie, he'll probably get a move to like.
But
He
he's-
might even skip the Championship
He's
and
been
go to
linked
Prem.
with PSG and Bayern in the past. Like
Yeah,
linked with
I
Man
think that was
United and
his
Arsenal.
agent though, wasn't it?
He's got the potential to be good enough to play at least Premier League football at the very minimum. But
Like
he's not
Huddersfield.
big enough. He's not strong enough. He needs to develop physically.
He's not.
And I think the best thing for Asoro will be is to stay at least for a year at Sunderland. Get Ross, whoever it is, Donald, talking to him and say, look, stay here for a year. We're back in the Championship because you're going to thrive in this league. Get yourself bulked up. We'll look out.
Yeah, like you just work hard, hit the
Yeah,
gym,
yeah.
and
I
do
saw
some
there's
work.
I
Like,
think
Look
League
what
One.
it's done for loan players in the past coming down this division. Henderson went to Coventry and used.
Yeah.
even just
came
look at
back a different
Jordan
player.
Pickford over the last couple of years, from where he was when he first started for Sunderland.
Mhm.
Just his actual physical body shape, and now look at him now. He's like a unit.
And Asoro started very early. Players are starting later and later. That's why the under 23s now instead of the under 21s in Premier League 2. So Asoro is starting very early. He's
Yeah,
made his debut when he was 17.
I was looking at like players in the England squad, like young players and that. I was like, oh, Jesse Lingard, he must be young. He's like 25, 26 now. Isn't he? He's like he's
Yeah,
prime of his
he's not
career,
there.
really
He's
coming
not
up on.
there.
I think with
Harry Kane still, he's like 24.
There's like 4 years difference between
25,
Lingard and Walcott. Like Walcott's been around forever.
Yeah, you think
Yes. That is unreal. That
I think-
Walcott was weird, wasn't
it'll be good for like Asoro to stay in League One as well, because it'll help him toughen up as well against like League One defenders.
Yeah,
Because
definitely.
if you can't do like all like the tricks and turns and that in League One, because he's going to get put on his arse by
he?
probably
And he'll not get a free
centre-halves
kick for it
every
as well. That'll be good.
Exactly,
it might
yeah,
teach him to
it's-
stop diving as well.
Yeah, that'll be.
The good thing is that we're in, for the first time in years, we're in power. We're in the position to say, that's not enough, go away.
I mean,
Yeah,
I mean, obviously the prices that we demand for or ask for players aren't going to be as high as we want them to be as fans, and I think that's like McNair's going to be, if he goes, and he'll end up going for like 5 million around that mark, and people will be like, oh, well, he's worth
I
at
mean,
least
McNair's
8.
got 3
It's
years in his deal.
like, that's true. He probably is worth that much. But at the end of the day,
4.
as much as we can refuse to let people go,
I'm
we
sure
are
he did. I
still-
did an article on him the other day. I'm sure it was just a 4-year deal when he came.
I mean, Asoro's only got the 1 year left, so was Marja, so
But
it's difficult
Asoro
because
will
you
get
need to
combo.
try and get the price.
But the thing is, what sort of compensation do you get for a League One player?
Not a
Probably
lot.
Not much.
Yeah, it won't be
Anyway, right, I'm going to move on to Gav, our managing editor.
Who?
Probably listening.
Who's he?
Gavalar. You'll know him. He's a knobhead.
I'm sure I saw him get megged or someone the other week. I can't
Did
remember.
I? We're not talking about it though, because we were all on the losing team and Paddy was on the winning team. The teams were a fix.
I came on as a striker, and as soon as I came on, like Paddy was the centre half, and I'm like, right, let's shithouse the cunts in it.
We don't say that word on the podcast, Chris.
Sean, sorry, mate.
Yeah.
But no, and Paddy was like, is that normally what strikers say when they run up the field? I was like, well, I'm not really a striker, so that would.
Yeah.
So anyway, Gav asks, thoughts on the Kazri Kone stance, right to stand firm and risk being stuck with them. So I mean, this is referring to I think asking for 6 million for Kone and 10 million for Kazri.
Yeah.
I'd personally, to throw my thoughts on that, I would say that is good news. Apart from Coney, like they'll never get 6 million for that donkey.
I don't
might
mind.
get
I like the stance. I think personally, just listen to what Kazri says in the media, and that obviously you've got to sort of see him do it. But to me, he seems like the type of player that as long as we've promised to sell him if we get the money, he'll just sort of go like, right, fair enough then, if he doesn't get sold. Whereas Coney, I think if he doesn't get sold, someone will have to hand him like a Samaritan's number because he could be in trouble.
Yeah.
Because he just does not want to be here. Like,
No.
he plays well. Like when he engages briefly, like last season, he would briefly engage in a football match for about half an hour.
When he remembers his Sunderland player.
And he looked good. Like, but then, and you could see we suffered without him being there, and his physical presence that would be great in League One, but he just does not want to be here.
He's got bad feet, hasn't he? I was like, every time he seems to pick the ball from centre back, and you see him, he's like, "Ooh, I can make that 30-yard sideways pass over there to the winger," and then he just hits it and he just
like
spoons it for a corner,
it's like,
for a goal kick.
say if like the ball ends up back at his feet, and you're just thinking like, you just don't feel comfortable. Like, when it's like, what's he gonna do?
He's never really made any bad like defensive mistakes with the ball. Like he has given away a few times, but he's never like passed it back the keeper shot or something.
Yeah.
Has he ever actually been directly, other than like marking up or things like that, has he ever actually directly made a mistake? That's like
Yeah, he did. There was I can't remember what goal it was. We conceded so many last year. There was a particular goal I can think of in my head though where he was at fault. Where
He's
he
not had
passed the ball wrong.
but it's not like the goalkeeper situation where you could like literally run out of fingers counting the amount of times a goalkeeper has cost us.
Oh, it's
Aye. Right.
Sorry
Okay.
to bring that up. Everyone in
So
reasonable good
next
moods.
question, Daniel Moore. Well, it's not really a question. It's just more of a statement. So
What's
John
that?
O'Shea, right decision that he's gone. I suspect the answer is a resounding yes. So
Oh, definitely.
yes.
We'll pro O'Shea going. What are Redden doing?
If
Why
if
would they
O'Shea,
sign him?
How's he got another season in the Championship?
do you know what the worry is for me though? Is that Paul Clement will have hired him and said like, do a season, sit on the bench, and then coach, and then be a coach. And I would have quite liked O'Shea as a coach.
That's the only way I would have kept him here.
That's the only way I would have kept him life.
I know, but obviously, Jack Ross has come in and he's gone, I don't want him as a coach. And that's
Yeah.
like, to be fair, if he's the gaffer and he doesn't want to work with him, then he can't
O'Shea
stay.
wanted to
so-
stay for a year, and Ross said no. Ross wanted to start again, which is I personally agree with
Yeah.
entirely.
Yeah, I haven't got a problem with that.
Nope, I agree. Okay, Jay Chapman asks, what is an acceptable offer for McNair? Will you share any juicy info since you and Stu are besties?
Would never betray Stu like that.
Stu likes
Nah.
lager and long walks on the beaches.
That's not long walks on the beaches is new information, but he did already express his love for lagers. So
No,
you
I
might sell him there.
just
Massive
think
lads fan.
if we can get anything more than 6 million
lads
from him, then he is massive lads fan, isn't he?
Yeah,
If we can get any more than 6 mil from there, then that'd be decent.
Profit
so.
is
Yeah.
bare minimum. Like it was 5.5 mil for McNair and Love. Profit is bare minimum. If they're going to say things like we're not getting the piss taken out of anymore, they've got to get the profit.
yeah, just slip. I would just say
Even if it is just like a minimum profit, just a statement of intent. We made 3 profits on transfer windows in the last 6 years. First one, ban. If he's going to go, we want a profit. If he's not, he's staying. He's got another couple of years left on his deal and he's our player. We're in control.
I just think just literally just slap 10 million on him. It was like, you know what, if people won't pay
Yeah.
10 million, but just slap it on him and then somebody will get as close as they can.
Well, that's-
People will panic.
That's what happened with Kazri and Kone as well. There's no way Kazri and Kone are going to be a Sunderland player by the end of the season, end of the window. And there's a hope in hell. But what the
I can
tactic
just
is
see
it's going
Kone
to push the
end up
price up. The no Kone is a wanted property. There was 18 million bidding for him 3 years ago. There's going to be
I wonder where
2 years ago.
Where can you see Coney
Yeah.
fitting in though? Like obviously, because he wanted to leave the Championship to play football better. Do you think he'll end up just going abroad? Because I can't see him getting a position in
He
any
could
Premier
possibly
League squad.
end up in like Dubai or something.
I wouldn't be surprised if
China.
he went abroad.
I could see Kazri getting a place on a Premier League
Well,
squad.
Kazri's Tunisia's star player, and Tunisia are the best African team in African qualifying for the World Cup.
We need to
His
like,
price is going to go up.
His World
bank.
Cup's going to be key for
we need
us.
to bank on him. We need to bank on him and Oviedo, to be fair.
We just need him to smash a hat trick past Pickford, and that'd be ideal, wouldn't it? Really?
Courtois.
I think also because I mean, like he's got a chance to sort of sell himself at the World Cup as well, hasn't he? Obviously, I mean,
shop
Kone
window.
won't be there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That'd
obviously,
be
if he's
good
on the
to
world
call,
stage, like
Won't make any difference to Coney though. He'll just post a couple Instagram videos, won't he?
Yeah, I mean, if
that was
sources
incredible.
If sources, I know the advert. Yeah.
Yeah.
If sources are believe like back with McNair, the price has already doubled in a week, and it's not even anywhere. There's still 9 weeks left in the transfer.
What
What
was
you're
the
saying is
original
by
price?
9 weeks it's going to be like 45 million.
That's what he's saying. That's what
Like, I want McNair to stay. Personally, I would keep him and rebuild the team
would
around
too.
him.
I'd make him my captain and just run the club around him.
Yeah.
Like,
Obviously, there's the caveat that he's injury prone, but he got this first full run of games towards the end of the season. It's not like it's anything. He had one broken leg, but then the other one's little niggling injuries.
Was it
It's
like
not
in
the
the
same
knee?
place every
It's
time.
just it's the type of thing that niggling injuries, they need a full summer to heal. So hopefully, if he has rested properly after these nationals,
Yeah.
That's
could
as
be
well with these sort
alright.
of little injuries. Like, he plays in midfield. That's sort of like part of the job, isn't it? Like, you're going to pick up these little knocks every now and again.
That's what
Every
Johnny
midfielder
Williams
does.
is. Johnny Williams is the same. He's just like, you're going to pick up knocks. Even though he's just spent his whole entire existence injured on the sidelines. Right, okay, we're going to have to move on because I've realised we've got so many questions to go through and we've basically not went through any because of that Dortmund model at the start.
Yeah, it's good.
Dortmund.
So has Paddy McNair gone from overrated to underrated back to overrated again in his time with SAFC? I would probably say yes, because when he initially came and he scored that one goal against Man City, I was like, what a donkey. And then
I
I was
He
gutted
unlucky
for him
with
there.
that, I thought.
nah, he's a donkey. We drew that game. We won the league.
Do you reckon if he didn't make that mistake, we'd have stayed up?
Definitely.
Fuck David
I think
Moyes.
if I was going to look back at it, that was the pinnacle moment. No, but definitely still would have went
So
down.
much vitriol behind that. But no,
I
I
actually
think
hate David Moyes.
Yeah, yeah.
this is we're in a good mood. We've got new owners. David Moyes is a distant memory, guys. But no, I think McNair came rated because he was, he's the one who asked to leave. Like Mourinho didn't sell him. Like
He said he
McNair
wanted
went,
to play
I want to
football,
play
didn't he?
football, and I'm
Yeah.
not going to because you're about to sign.
He also doesn't
whatever
want to play
you're gonna
centre back, and of Louis van Gaal and Moyes, he made his debut at centre back. He's never been a centre back in his career. When he signed from Ballymena,
He actually did well as a centre back as well. I thought he
Yeah.
was a centre back up
I mean, that
until
was
the moment he signed
crisis.
for us.
Didn't he
played
make,
alongside McCarrick.
Didn't he make his debut for Sunderland? Didn't he come on as a centre back?
I'm
or
sure,
full
yeah.
back?
He started off as a defender, then obviously at the end of last season we put him in midfield, and he ran the show most weeks.
Well, it was his best
He
spell
was
before he
superb.
got his first injury. His best spell was playing centre mid when Moyes moved him up a bit. But he did make
That's
his debut.
true.
He came on at centre back.
He
later on.
doesn't he looks like the type of player who doesn't particularly want to defend. Like you put him in field, give him the ball. Obviously, he takes his responsibility probably, but he doesn't look like he wants to focus more on actually having the
Yeah.
ball and playing football
yeah.
and stopping.
I can see why people look at him. He kind of does look like a centre back. He's quite big. He's got all them natural attributes, but he utilises that. His feet are forward.
Yeah, he's superb
too
on the
good.
ball. Like
Yeah.
his touch is excellent. He's got good vision. He dribbles well. He doesn't make sloppy mistakes. He makes mistakes when he's trying things, and I don't mind that in a player. That's why I didn't
People-
mind McGeady, because he would fuck up because he was trying to.
Yeah, but that's what Jack
Try to do
Ross said
something
as well.
different.
Ross said he doesn't, in his interview, he said that he doesn't mind when players make mistakes in the final third. That's the most difficult part of the game.
Yeah,
As long as you're trying to make something happen. If you don't try, nothing will ever happen.
yeah, it's that
And
level.
I like that. McNair's like that. With the link play with him and Love was excellent. But
Whereas Cattermore looks scared to play the ball forwards.
Yeah.
And Dong was the same when he got the ball. When he first.
I'm telling you, man, Neil Warnock's listening. Can I
mean,
hammer
Dong.
it? Did he ain't Dong? It's 8 million.
The number of times I've seen him screaming at players that are older than him because he's got the authority to take the ball forwards and attack. It's unbelievable. I really, honestly.
The amount of times he came so close to scoring. I mean, that one goal he scored, he
25 yarder from Palace. I think.
was a good goal. Right, okay.
remember
So
that goal.
Black Cat Yank, very good. American fan.
I mean, you'd hope so.
Catchy.
Otherwise,
Yeah,
that's a
maybe,
terrible
yeah.
name.
Next player in and next player out. Best guess when it's all said and done. How much will be spent on players this summer? We'll have kind of ranked positions of need. So first bit, next player in. Has anybody got a guess?
Next player in.
Marcus Maddison.
Where are you getting 20 million from?
Stuart Donald.
Fair enough.
Is that the price tag they've got?
No.
10 or something. Isn't it?
Nah,
I was gonna say that they couldn't afford to put.
It's Darren McAnthony. Darren McAnthony always bullshits every single window.
That's
He'll accept it's probably a couple of mil,
He
like
tipped
3 or
Sunderland
4.
to win the league though.
He's a
That
good
was-
lad, didn't he?
HITC, one of them clickbait articles
He's a
got
massive
me.
lads fan.
They got
I'm
me.
saying that.
It's one of them, just a PS sponsored thing, and it was like, you'll never believe who
Yeah.
Derek McAnthony believes will win League One. And I'm like, oh, you better believe I'm going to click it.
We had a,
There it was. It was Sunderland. I was like, yes! What a win. And then the next article was like, you'll never believe what Triple H did in 2002. I was like, well, I'm clicking that one as well.
Well, we had an article on the site as well on Roker Report that been linked on Sky Sources with the Walsall attacking midfielder Erhan
The
Oztumer.
Turkish Messi.
I hate that. I hate people calling him that.
He's
But who
very,
the
he's
team-
I
very
hate
good.
I hate the anything, the
Yeah.
blank Messi. It's
Yeah,
just a
it's awful.
stupid thing to call someone.
It's usually somebody from that country's FA or that club's board who says it because it can drive up price, because there'll be someone idiot somewhere be like, oh, I'll sign him. Like Steve Bruce with the Egyptian Beckham.
Same Egyptian Beckham, Ahmed El
Fucking Al
Mohammadi.
Mohammadi.
And you know what it is, right? He was a decent player, but he was never a David Beckham. Like he, didn't
Old Al-
he was a quick and
The only
header.
thing El Mohammadi could do was jump and
He was good at winning
Slightly
headers.
head a ball.
He
God, I
could
loved
jump
him.
really high.
I was a big fan.
Yeah, he just jump really high and then run fast.
No, right, Simon Mignolet is goal
good if he
kicks
used his
every
full
time.
name.
Yeah,
Every time.
But that's like he'd get the ball on the wing. It's he's in a decent area. Then he'd
Like,
either, he'd just
cross.
Best thing about,
he'd either put like a shit cross,
Go on then, Beckham, go on.
the best thing about El Mohammadi is that he had to spell his name wrong so we could say it right. His name's completely spelt wrong just so we'd say it right.
That's good. That shows that he's accommodating. Now, on the flip side, talking that sort of era, do you remember? I think we played Blackburn in the cup, and Marcos Angeli made his only appearance, and he crossed a ball that
That was
went almost into the
horrendous.
top tier of the North Stand.
He had nice hair though.
He did, to be fair.
Did he?
Yeah.
I remember him.
I don't judge a man by his appearance. What can I
Says
say?
sat in his saloon chair.
Yeah,
Shallow as the rest
we
of
were
us.
linked with Oztuma, and Oztuma's basically a very good attacking player at this level. He's diminutive, he's 5'3", but he scored 17 goals last season, 15 goals the season before that. He's the sort of player who can make a difference at this level.
So you're saying you think it'll be him?
It's free agent as well. So I think we would definitely have an interest according to Sky sources.
I have no idea who's going to be
According to
first to come in because it's difficult to really predict because you sort of we've got so many different angles. Like we've got the Scottish angle now with Jack Ross. And we've got like his old squad at St Mirren.
Cal McGuinness, people like that.
I
Don't
just
Google
literally
him.
Googled it. I was like, oh, I'll get Kyle McGuinness on.
It's like all of these names have been linked with. It'd be difficult to know what our sort of strategy is going to be until we make that first signing, and then
Yeah.
you can go, oh, well, the second
We've got
signing
an
is going to
idea.
be this.
I think it will be somebody from Scotland, whether it's either from St Mirren or maybe like Hibernian. I know we've been linked
Yeah,
with a couple of
McLean.
players from Hibernian.
Dylan McGuff and John McGinn massively. McGuff was very highly rated at Celtic a couple of years ago as well, but his career kind of tailed off a little bit in Scotland. He was a young winger and then has dropped deeper and dropped more central. Now he's kind of like a shit Scott Brown, basically.
I
But
would
he
take
could
it as
do a
Scott
job
Brown.
in
I thought
League
Scott
One.
Brown was the shit Scott Brown.
Don't talk about Scott Brown like that.
Scottish, I've already established. I'm totally anti-home nation.
Right, okay.
Scottish Brown.
So next player out, I think it'd be Didier Ndong, won't it?
It's seemingly,
Yeah, it looks
Yeah.
that way.
So,
It looks like we're going to wait for the World Cup with Casrino Oviedo, get the price driven up. It looks like we're going to wait for anybody who actually want to buy Rodwell and Kone.
How
I
much?
don't think Rodwell will leave.
Yeah,
I think
Rodwell's
it'll
going to be.
Don't say that.
And I think we're stuck
He's not
with
going
him.
to be going anywhere, I don't think.
Right, okay, I'm gonna have to keep moving on here because you just keep expanding on the. I mean, I love it, but I've got a schedule to work upon here. I'm not even in the final section yet. We're already at 48 minutes.
He's
Actually.
strangling the creativity.
Yeah, I am. I'm gonna have to be like authoritative for the first time in my life. How much will be spent on players this summer? I think it'll be about 10 mil.
Say between 12 and 15.
Oh,
I think we'll.
ambitious.
Yeah.
Pissing in the wind, really trying to figure it out, innit?
It is quite hard to, I think.
It's like it's Stuart Donald said, like
Yeah.
we've got a transfer kitty that's there, we need to use it, but we're not going to use it because it's there.
Yeah,
So-
he has said that every penny that goes out on transfers will be coming back in on transfers, whether it's not this season or in the future. But the highest ever League One transfer budget was 3 million. You don't need to spend 10, 15 million to win this league.
No.
I mean, when we do spend 10, 15 million, we'll beat all these jobbers, win every single game, and have a party down at Plymouth Lido, then we'll be
It's
fine.
like, look, when, like, obviously Blackburn came down and they had Danny Graham up front. I mean, he
Yeah.
can't have cost them much, and, he was scoring goals most weeks.
And I'd love Danny Graham back.
Got them on a free transfer.
Get
So-
Jordan Rhodes in.
Bradley Dack went to Blackburn on a free transfer. Like, all these players go
Yeah.
generally for frees because they've been cast off elsewhere.
Especially when it's a club like Blackburn, and in our case, because we're big clubs, and Blackburn was a big club for League One.
Oh, massive.
It's like, and
Well,
that's-
massive. I mean, they're playing for
But
a half
players who are
already.
like players who are English players who've got the right mentality, the ones that like Stuart Donald's already said, like we're after players who want to play for a big club. We're not after
Yeah.
players after a big paycheck.
Yeah. There
They're out there and they'll come.
isn't a lot of money sort of going around in that league because it is mainly sort of like free transfers and that.
Yeah.
So, like you said, we're not going to need millions to do well.
And we won't have to bribe players to come here anymore.
No, we are like we are the Manchester United of League One at the minute. It sounds horrendous to say, but we've sold 18,000
Michael
season
Martin
tickets.
sitting at home somewhere thinking,
We've sold 18,000 season tickets already. We need to sell more as well. Like people who haven't bought one need to get along because we need everyone back together in the stadium as much as possible.
They've set a target of like 20,000.
Yeah.
They'll smash that.
We've already hit higher than every single average in League One last season, apart from one club.
is that Bradford,
Bradford,
City?
yeah.
Yeah.
Bradford
Their,
were
their
only
season
one.
ticket program's excellent. Like,
Yeah, and like we're gonna get, it's gonna be the biggest stadium to ever have be in League One. Probably the biggest crowds to ever
Going to
be in
be
League
the
One.
biggest half-full stadium.
The best team ever to play in League One.
The best owner to ever be in League One.
But no, we shouldn't be in this level, and we need to basically get out as soon as possible.
Okay, Right, we're on the final section now. There was a question above, but it would just take too long to go through. So
We'll just say it anyway, and we'll just go, ooh, that would take a while.
The question was from Tom with a T, and it was, personally would like a breakdown of who's on what wages and realistic run through of who we can afford to keep and who needs to be sold. I'll tell you what, Tom.
We'll do an article on it for you.
Aye, somebody will do an article.
Yeah, Connor will do an article for
Or
you.
we'll do it on Roker Report TV. And that's just essentially me. So
We'll just do a 10-minute Roker Report TV of Connor reading out the wages.
Yeah, I'll do each one in a different accent. Right, okay. So this section is some general stuff.
Ooh.
Graham Field asks, just for a bit of a laugh really, as things are still in their early stages of development in the club, but, in capital letters, how many seasons until we are back in the Premier League?
One.
There'll be a scandal. Every team will be match fixing next year, and we are the only ones who didn't.
The one thing I do hope is that we'll get Coventry away first game of the season. Go down.
We've had that before.
Oh, yeah, we can go shout
Yeah,
those Jimmy Hill loving nonsense. Ooh.
Battle Quinn's
cry.
first game was a Coventry in the Championship.
Yep.
We played them all 4-5 first game, didn't we?
We beat them 06-07. We lost 2-1. Gary McSheffrey scored a win in the 78th minute.
Oh,
We
yeah.
were talking about that earlier on today.
I need to
Darren Murphy
quickly.
scored for us.
We're gonna do a.
No, and Stern John scored there first as well.
Yeah.
And went and signed.
And we signed him that
well, we
season.
didn't. So
No,
we
we
played
did,
them a 4-5 first game.
Oh, well.
We're gonna do a sweepstakes this
definitely a 6 or
season.
7.
Sweepstake this season for how many town centres Nicholas is gonna get banned from.
Hopefully not Burton, because Burton's the best away game last season.
Home of Carl.
I'm going to be...
Wimbledon as well. Or
gonna be
anything with a
ambitious
terrace would be fine. It'd be great.
Wimbledon will be. I've got a feeling Wimbledon fans. It'll
we'll
be
never
really
go back
great
in the
next
Premier
season
League.
because they're just over the moon. They're above Memphis
No, I'm
Dons.
saying...
Yeah.
He'll
Oh,
get
Officially
banned.
for the first time. I was
What
buzzing
about
for them
question?
when it happened.
Right, okay, well, I'm going to say it's going to take 4 seasons.
I think 5.
I think it's going to take longer than that. I think we'll end up doing an Aston Villa in the Championship, but we'll get there in the end.
Aston Villa haven't got there yet.
Yeah, I think we'll do that. I think we'll get up from League One this season.
Yeah.
And then we'll float about in the Championship while we just
Maybe a bit like
amass our power
Leeds,
again, and then
like
we'll.
Leeds, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So
gonna be
I think
difficult.
by the time we get the Premier League, though, we'll be ready to stay in the Premier League, and we won't just be going up. Like I would be worried if we went up in 2 seasons. 'cause
Yeah,
I feel like we wouldn't be
get
ready.
battered and come straight
If you
back
look at
down
odds
again.
as well, like you're more likely to go. There's teams who look in the past teams. You're actually more likely after promotion from like such a massive high winning League One the way you do and rebuild like that. You're more likely to go up again than you are to get relegated.
Yeah.
Odds are usually
few
quite
teams
good
do
for
it,
teams.
especially the big
going up.
Southampton did
Yeah.
that, didn't they?
Yeah.
They went
Southampton,
back up
Norwich,
Wolves.
straight away.
Southampton, Leicester, all of them.
Wolves.
I think it's like Southampton went
Wolves got
straight
the
away.
Wolves got the
2
points
years.
record.
Were they in the season? Were they in the Championship one season and then went up the year after?
Wolves went to
League
double
One.
relegation, then got the points records in League One. Spent
then-
a year rebuilding.
Yeah,
and then
and then-
banged it.
That's
So
true,
being the
actually,
is this the 3rd year in the champ?
Second, isn't it?
I think it's might be
No,
their
it's the
third.
3rd
It's the
because they had
third, I think.
Zenga last year,
Of course, what
and
was
then
it?
they had Jacket the year before.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Mickey Luff, former Roker reporter and part of Wise Men Say.
Love Big Mickey.
Aye, good lad. He's a good lad. In your opinion, I presume this means all of our opinions, what's been the most surreal aspect of the past few weeks following the lads?
Happiness.
It just feels like it's the most unprofessional thing. Like, do you know what I mean? It's just because of the way we've been. Like me personally, I'm like young enough where it's like my sort of Sunderland experience is the very end of like Phillips and us going down basically, and then Ellis Short.
Yeah.
That's like my Sunderland experience. So the idea of a owner just tweeting at people saying what's going on in the club, like it's so bizarre to me. Like
It's
it seems
refreshing.
like I feel like it's impossible in the Premier League for clubs to do that because there's so much at stake and there's so much money and they're so much above it all. Whereas we're like, it feels unprofessional. That's what's really made to me. Like, obviously it's not, and like Stuart Donald is a total professional. He's doing a great
Yeah.
job in that. But
No, you've said it now. Chris Cam, Stuart Donald is unprofessional. Get
it
out
just
of our
feels,
club.
It just feels really weird, doesn't it? How it's like.
No, I know what
It's
you
almost like people were
Yeah.
just asking him questions on Twitter, and he was going, "Oh, yeah, I'll get it sorted for you." Like my mate went to play on my mate Billy from work. He went on play on the pitch, and they were told that they weren't going to get the lights on, and then Stuart Donald took over. So he asked him if he put the lights on, and they put the lights on. Like, I'm sure they would have put the lights on anyway. But
think-
it's nice to think that Stuart Donald's the person who turned the switch.
Yeah, it's because we aren't used to it. Because as you said, like we've had so long with like an owner who's basically been, well, he hasn't been in the northeast, has he?
Absent, yeah.
90%, and now to have someone who's like, you know, meeting fans in the ticket office and then, you know, going to like the tavern and that, and just being, you know, on Twitter as well, just like answering fans and, you know, actually listening to what they're saying and everything. It's just we aren't like, Other teams probably have that. I can't really think of any off the top of my head, but
No, I think I
It's
was
not at any level
talking
higher
the
than
day.
this.
Yeah,
No,
I don't think any big club ever has had ownership that is
no,
this.
it's so personal.
Yeah,
It's
Does
it's
Darren
fantastic.
McCantley do that at Peterborough?
No.
Yeah, but
I don't know.
I was trying to think of like chairman who you could sort of name. They're not
But
many
the thing is, though,
chairmen
it's like
you can-
Peterborough again, though. Like they're just nowhere near like the size of this. Like it's
Yeah. I mean,
I
ridiculous.
mean, we are in
really.
a bubble. Like we don't know like some of the team's chairman because it's not our team.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We
that's
don't
the
live
thing.
and breathe that team every
You've got to,
single day.
you've got to
so-
think. I don't know. Obviously, it's hard to say what sort of national coverage we've got because you can't really see it from the inside. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But I imagine we've got a little more attention
Well,
just because
stories,
the fact,
isn't it?
Well, like BBC Sport has been running a few articles about Stuart Donald just saying stuff, like,
Yeah,
and that's
well,
quite
it's true.
unusual.
it's nice having some sort of positive national publicity.
Yeah.
Just about like this new owner and that, and it's just all like sort of good things about it rather than just Ellis Short, looking to sell. Then obviously, when Rodwell had his interview in the Daily Mail, I mean that's not what you wanted, is it? When you've got one of your players just like sat there in his front room, just saying, "Oh well, I want to play football, but I don't want to play for Sunderland. But I'd be stupid to walk away from this amount of money."
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
it doesn't-
Like for me, like this most surreal thing is kind of like the most sad thing. It's the success, at least, or just happiness with the club, the way things are being run. Like the whole Irish Short thing, like it's not kind of like a Roland Duchalet or a Carl Oyston ownership at Charlton or Blackburn, where it's just they fucking hate each other and they're like literally like fighting with the fans, literally like, protesting week in week out. They're calling the fans customers. They're doing everything they can to seemingly piss off the fans. Ours was just absent. And I think it's arguably more dangerous because there was just nothing there.
I think it's weird. Like
Yeah.
Ellis Short clearly didn't have any disdain for the club.
No.
He clearly like holds it very dear. And even
Yeah,
now,
his last act as chairman shows that he still cares. He
and the
just
way that
doesn't know what
everyone's
he's
spoken,
doing.
everyone who dealt with him, the way they've all spoke about him, they've all said like, no, he did. He was a Sunderland fan,
Yeah.
but he ballsed it all up and he sort of lost his ball, didn't he?
I think like the history books in the future, I'll probably say like Ellis Short he tried his best, he threw everything he could, but he just failed miserably.
He just didn't get it. These
Yeah,
two,
just didn't
like,
get it.
there's no results on the pitch. There's hardly any barometer you can actually say, well, this is how they've done well. You can't really compare them to anything because nothing's happened yet.
Yeah.
But they just simply seem to just get it,
It's ironic.
which matters up here.
It's ironic about Ellis Short because we were just saying earlier that we don't mind it when a player tries to do something and fails. Isn't
Yeah.
that in Short's entire reign, trying to do things and completely failing?
I
It's
guess
like at
he's-
least he
he's
tried
got
to do
Power
something.
is so
something.
constant and so
Yeah,
mind
and obviously it's a lot more important when you're in a football club than playing a through ball. But
It must be a nightmare for like the press because like Stuart,
Yeah.
as a journalist, I can imagine like I'm not saying that necessarily do this, but I can imagine shit. It's a slow news day, right? Let's have a look who's likely to be getting transferred, right? We'll pick him and we'll say there's a link. And then
Yeah.
you publish the story, and people talk about it for a few days. You get a few clicks. Whereas now, like, you kind of because he's basically just like the police on it, and he's like, "Nah, you're wrong, mate."
But it's not even the
We're not
police.
after
It's like
him.
a Sunderland fan will see it and then tweet him and go, "Oh, are we signing? Are
Yeah.
we signing him?" And they'll go,
Nope.
"Nope." They go, "Nope."
It's just like
It is refreshing.
so it is a bit like it must be a nightmare though for these journalists because they're
Yeah.
used to having like this sort of it's like a power because they had a contact with
Yeah,
Martin
it's like
Bain
the
that nobody else
Gestapo.
had.
yeah,
And now they don't have the contact. They don't really have any power. Like a fan can tweet Stuart Donald and has a contact with him,
yeah.
and he'll reply if I'm not saying he reply everyone, but he replies if he sees it or if he
And
finds it important.
That's
to.
the one thing I like most about this right now. It's some people say it's quite tin pot. I don't think so. I think it's a non-league mentality, and I mean that in the most genuine, best of ways. I love non-league football. Going to a non-league match is one of my most enjoyable things to do. Maybe fall back in love with football again and eventually Sunderland when I kind of stopped going for a while. Like boycotted Moyes era because I hated that man that much. I just couldn't be there and be I'll stop talking about him.
It's okay.
But
It's okay.
went back to
We're all
like
here.
their last season was nowhere near as bad as that Moyes season, and I don't know why. I think it's because the vibe was just different. Maybe it was me, but I
We
love.
had a guy there. We had a guy there in charge in Coleman who sort of
Who cares
he
as well.
got it
Yeah.
and he cared about the club.
So like this is with Donald and Meth and the kind of running what should be a Premier League club stuck in League One, but with like that non-league mentality where you are part of the club. Like my local team are South Shields, and they like I know people who work in the club day in day out. It's kind of bringing people in. It might just be on social media, it might just be for face, but it works. People are feeling
great
part
if
of
we
the
could
club
get that.
again.
Yeah, it'd be great if we could get that where everybody all like it's sort of difficult because it's difficult. You can't like have like all the fans know like the boot man or the kick man or
Yeah.
whatever because there's like 30,000 of them. It's just impossible. It's like you can't have that kind of relationship. But it's nice to know that the walls are broken down, and that's like,
even the first appointment before they appointed Ross. The first appointment was Tony Davison, the MD, managing director.
Yeah,
He used to be Samson the Black Cat. People know who he is. Like he's not just a face. He's not just a name. He's a face to a name.
and it's like he doesn't. Like, he's just the type of guy that isn't going to like hide away from the public. And Sunderland now, he's in a big position, and that's the difference with like Stuart Donald. You could probably catch him like in town or something like that, just because he happened to be working that day and he thought he'd come round. And
Short did that now and again, but you only ever done it when things were good.
he did it when we beat Newcastle, basically.
He did it once when we beat Newcastle, and he came on TV once for the comment for the Cup final. But look at the board. Does anyone actually know what Per Magnus Anderson looks like? Never mind what job he done.
No, I didn't even heard of him till right now.
He was a member of the board of directors at Sunderland under the whole of Short's tenure.
He's actually the only guy left on Football Manager again. You've got Stuart Donald and then Magnuson, and they're just the only two members of the board at the moment on that game.
Magnuson has probably most likely gone.
Yeah.
Right.
Like he was Short's confidant, and like,
I'm going to have to cut you off there again, because there's a few
just
things
slipping
I want to be
Football
talked about. I mean, this is you, Chris Cam. You're the
yeah.
one who loves the lassies. So we're going to talk a wee bit about the women's team.
Shouldn't phrase it that
I'm
way.
going to give you 2 minutes. 2 minutes to share your thoughts. Obviously, what's happened is Donald says that he's going to fund it. I think they were talking about going with Northumbria University or something, weren't they? And now they're not.
So we've got this football club, Sunderland AFC ladies, that are absolutely fantastic. Historically, have done superbly. They've sort of been frozen out of the top flight of English football for quite a while, and they eventually got themselves in there when it became the Women's Super League after getting promoted from the Super League 2, which they did easily because they were much better than everyone around them. They've, in the last sort of decade, created, loads and loads and loads of the best players in England. 7 of the
current women's team.
Yeah, and the current England squad is made up of 7 players who came from Sunderland's academy.
Yeah, the current women's player of the year.
BBC Women's Player of the Year, Lucy Bronze, was born in Berwick and was driven to and from Sunderland by her parents to learn to play football. She moved to Manchester City and then she moved to Lyon, where she this season won the Champions League. She's a Sunderland player. That's like Jordan Henderson winning the Champions League. Oh,
thanks for clarifying that.
So that's all great. But then Martin Bain came along with the brief cut money, cut costs, and he thought that the women's team were a necessary cost. And we need to make this absolutely abundantly clear to anyone who might think that the ladies' team is a financial burden, because they are absolutely not. And if you're talking about cutting costs at a football club, the ladies' football team is not expendable. They're important, just as important as the men's team. I know you might say financially the men's team bring the money in, but no, it's.
Do the women's team, does it break even? I don't actually know. I'm not.
They're operating at a loss.
I'm just curious to know what
they're operating at a loss of about £500,000 a year.
Right, and that's what it was.
And that's why people are sort of going, we should cut them loose. It's like, the reason they're operating at a loss is because they haven't taken a penny from the club.
What?
All of that money is because they've been sent away from their training ground onto part-time contracts at Northumbria University in Newcastle. And the thing that should worry us...
Shields.
Yeah, they play at South Shields. And the thing we should really be worried about is the FA. The FA have changed the league structure so it's now a Women's Premier League, which means we've been knocked out of not just the top flight, but the top 2 flights, and we'll now be playing in the 3rd tier. The news this week was Stuart Donald was he's going to reapply and we'll hopefully get a place. So, if we do, then that's great. It's basically a matter of getting hold of the FA and sort of twisting their arm and saying, listen, the reason we didn't apply properly last time is because the ownership was crap, but we mean it now. Don't punish us because we're just late. But we will do. We'll get put in the 3rd division. And that's really, really bad, because if you want the women's team to be self-sustaining and make a profit, we need to be in that top flight, because that's where the investment's coming from. Like the FA have got massive plans for that top flight of women's football, and we need to be there because we belong there.
The first 2 years back in the top flight as well, after getting promotion 3 years ago, they finished...
They did superb!
2nd or 3rd and then 5th.
Talking about a club that have no money to sign players or anything like that. All the players in that women's squad have come through the club or have been taken on as free agents. But we've got Stephanie Roach, who was the lady who's nominated for the Puskas Award for that amazing goal she scored.
Yeah, I remember that.
In the Irish League. She plays for Sunderland.
Yeah.
We've had to sell our best players, or not even sell them, but let them leave for free because they've been offered full-time contracts elsewhere. Like Beth Mead, the most recent example. She was our top goal scorer for 4 seasons in a row. She left for free to go to Arsenal, and now she's in the England squad.
Yeah, Steph Horton, Jill Scott all left for free in the past.
Steph Horton, England captain. Jill Scott, who went to my primary school.
Former England captain as well. It's just ridiculous that the ladies' team have been, for the last decade or so, probably the bastion of the club. They've been the most proud part of the club. They've been the ones that are most successful, and it's not looking down in any way. We shouldn't look and say, it's just women's football. It doesn't matter if it's women's football or men's football. The ladies' team is obviously is just as important as the men's team.
It's Sunderland Football Club, isn't it?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it is Sunderland's football club, so it matters.
Exactly.
As much. I can understand, because I'll be honest, I probably wouldn't go watch Sunderland ladies, but that's not to say if they were doing well if they were in like a final or something, I wouldn't.
Well, they were in the semi-finals of the FA Cup this season. They got beaten by Manchester City in extra time, and the only reason that happened is because one of the players made a mistake, and it cost them the lead in the last minute of the game. We would have been at Wembley this season if it weren't for one tiny error.
Thing is, it's weird too. It's never advertised. Like literally, I wouldn't know where they played. I wouldn't know unless.
And it's not your fault, and it's not the fans' fault for not knowing that, because the club took no ownership of them.
I think that will be something which changes. Like, obviously, I think Donald will definitely, he'll get them more publicity, and that's exactly what they need. Because as you said, like they're a fantastic part of Sunderland Football Club.
Get them advertised.
Support, yeah.
Exactly. Like, we've all got heroes. Look, and you all remember growing up as a kid, and you look up and you see the players who you love, the players who you worship. Well, what's anything better for a small girl who's a young girl who's a Sunderland fan? Just going to her first match with her mum or her dad or whatever, and sees these players and thinks, I want to be that. And then they go to a ladies' team and they can actually see that. They can see these girls from Sunderland who could be them. They could be in their shoes. They could see, and that's their hero. It
worries me so much that we've got, like we was mentioned earlier about the talent pool in the North East that the academy has to draw from. It's the same for the women's team.
It's even better.
The amount of like girls in the North East who want to play football but have nowhere to play it. The thing that really worries me is the FA looked at our situation when they reevaluated the leagues, and the reason they rejected us is because the men's club hadn't been doing anything to the women's club for a long time, and the president of women's football at the FA has actually acknowledged this and said it. She's actually been quoted saying like they haven't been doing anything, they've just ignored them.
Yeah.
And my worry is, she said, so what we're going to do is we're like the FA, we're going to set up a base in the North East at Northumbria, and we're going to train the players that way, so the girls still have somewhere to train and learn their trade. And then she said, if a big club wants to come in and get involved, then they can. She didn't say if Sunderland want to get back involved again. She just said if a big club in the North East. Now, can you imagine a big club in the North East with maybe, say, a brand new female owner who's just bought the club? And like, if we lost Sunderland ladies to Newcastle,
did Newcastle have a team?
No, not at all.
Durham are the only other team in the North East.
And Durham are even lower than Sunderland. Well, not anymore. Now
Durham will probably be the same level as Durham now. Yeah.
Right, I'm gonna have to move on. So, if you want to sign any more, you write loads about it, don't you, Chris?
Yeah, I'm gonna be as news develops on that, I'll put stuff on the website, and then obviously next season we're either going to have somebody on the team who's going to cover them regularly, or I'm going to help them, or I'm going to do it. We're just going to see what happens.
Okay, right, there's a few final quick-fire questions that we're just going to go through. I'll even just answer some of them. So, first one, do you think Donald Love can cement a place in the team next season? Yes.
Yes.
Oh, mate, of course he can.
He already has.
He's the best player ever played in red and white. Okay. And that's not just Sunderland.
Mackham Lad has two questions. Firstly, any idea why they stopped playing Wise Men Say before kickoff? To be honest, I hadn't noticed. Anyone know?
No, I didn't know, and I hadn't noticed either.
Who knows?
I'm usually staring at Don Love.
Fair enough. Mackham Lad asks, when is the Netflix documentary out?
Is it this year?
I've been told when, but I was told not.
It was
to
slated.
say it, so
it was
it's
slated
basically
for
just the summer.
Yeah, it was slated for the summer,
year.
but then it sort of got like, oh well, the new ownership came in, so they went and did a bit more filming, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. So I will say before September, without giving away the date.
You are pushing it.
Yeah. Well, I signed a disclaimer, but who cares? Right. To be fair, I mean, the summer, it's before September. I'm not saying anything.
Why haven't they burst into the podcast recording this week? Like,
because
I'm offended.
You're an ugly bastard. They don't want to film you. Right. At Deadly Isco. Oh, Deadly Isco. What? Sunderland stuff.
What?
Sunderland winning the League One. Will we win? Checker trade.
I would love to win the Checker Trade trophy.
Yeah, but people are saying let's not take it serious, let's boycott it. Now, if it was the under-23s, I'd boycott it because I refuse to believe that any Premier League team's academy system should be subsumed into a first team division football. It should be separate.
So are you saying, like, if we got drawn against, like, Everton under 23s, would you go?
That's the difficulty. I don't know.
See, like,
I don't mind because I don't. Not many of the under 23s teams actually get out the group stage.
Because it's different now. It's supporting your first team.
Yeah.
But if you look at sort of the two times it's been in this structure, the final has been first team League One and League Two teams.
Yeah.
So it's
because there's always a couple of teams pick it out, don't there, and go for it.
Yeah, exactly, and because they know that, oh great, there's going to be these new teams in, but no, they aren't going to be taking it completely seriously. So let's just have a go at winning a trophy.
So
To be honest with you,
basically,
if I was the new owner of a club and I was in League One, I'd think I'd want to go to Wembley.
yeah, it's a
Yeah,
great
definitely.
opportunity.
we're gonna win it. Right,
And
Come
then-
on, check.
Jake-
We also don't play Newcastle. Rivals get kept apart. Portsmouth and Southampton have been.
good.
Ooh.
What happens though if they meet in the final? Can that happen? Surely that can still happen.
That'll be massive.
Nah, they won't.
Well, no, we'd meet in the northern final.
Yeah, you'd meet in the
Yeah.
area final. Yeah.
Right, okay. Jake Collinson asks, surely a one that could be answered over here. Okay. I know it affected you, Connor. However, if the others sat in the Premier
Chris.
Concourse, Chris, have you renewed and where will you be sitting? So I no longer sit in the Premier Concourse, but I have renewed technically 2 rows below. So I've essentially got the same seat, but
You're just not in the concourse.
yeah, I'm just
Oh,
literally
is it
just
still
below the
padded?
concourse. No, I am not.
You're not
I
in the
wasn't. No, I
Tory
was
seat.
never.
Fuming.
I wasn't padded.
Oh, you're not padded?
No, I wasn't. They're not all padded in the first row bit. But yes, I was a Tory. That's what I was. I was up there championing Brexit, offended whenever any European player took to the pitch. I would wave my English flag
I
with
know.
my Tommy Robson little banner to go with it.
Tommy Robson.
Tommy Robinson.
I
his
know
real
a
name?
couple of people who sat there, and they're just the loveliest people. So I need to just defend.
No,
them.
right. The thing is,
They're
right, the
just
top
sweetest.
tier has got so many positives. Number one, the concourses are bigger.
You're miles away from what? Sorry.
The concourses are bigger. Number two, you're not miles away from the pitch. You're 1 row above the bottom tier if you sit in the first row. Also, you're also where the boxes are, so you're going to have the best seats. The directors also sit on that level, so obviously the seats are going to be better. So Nichols, worst view.
Southwest South stands where it's at. Heart of the atmosphere, man.
Well, I was just explaining my decision. I used to sit over there, but then I got too old and I couldn't be bothered to stand up. So I sat down with the old people in the top tier. Right?
Too old.
What?
My
They were
dad's
old?
my dad's at the back of the South Stand week in week out,
Well,
and
do you know
he's
what?
61.
Good for him. However, me and
Loves
your
the
dad
lads.
are clearly different people. I still love the lads. Just because I sit.
Sounds a
He
bit.
didn't renew in the first tier, in the
didn't-
first
he
wave
didn't-
as
he
well.
didn't
I didn't
renew
renew in
before
the
the
first
tier.
round. I am
Weaving
clearly
at
a
someone
horrible
from-
human being.
Exactly.
I didn't renew.
Still hasn't
straight
renewed.
away.
He's not. He's going to Blythe.
No, I have renewed.
Why have we got this live life
have.
on the podcast? Like, why have we...
Don't tell lies. I have renewed. I can't take a picture of the season card either because I've changed seat. So I'm
He's
going to get a
fucking
new one.
lying. That's why.
Nah, I've renewed. I love the lads.
I would have got a season ticket, but
No, take it
going
back,
off to
like-
uni. So
Laws, Mr. Excuses in the
I'll be
corner.
I'll be going to watch Coventry City.
Don't. Oh, you can't be talking about Buddy them.
Don't.
Oh, God.
Coventry. Fuck Coventry.
I won't be following them.
Basically a mag.
Only time I'll go there is when
Basically a man.
watching Coventry.
Sunderland don't get along with Coventry.
No,
Because
Jimmy
they
Hill.
stole our city of culture.
No, they got us relegated.
Hill.
Yeah, they got us relegated. Them and Bristol City.
Jimmy
man,
Hill
they're arseholes.
literally.
relegated twice.
Jimmy Hill purposefully delayed a game to find out a result so Coventry players could play out the rest of the game, doing nothing and relegate us.
Google it.
Fucking bastard. Sorry, he's dead. Rest in peace. Bastard.
There's actually a video of Jimmy Hill at a Fulham game, Sunderland Fulham game, and Sunderland fans are probably giving him shit.
He hates it. He absolutely hates
Anyway,
or hated us. And Coventry fans.
Moving on, we've got 2 more questions left, so it'll be
We
fine.
can do this, guys.
Right. Hannah Brown asks who will be captain, I presume of the team, and my answer will be the Padster if he stays.
Yeah.
Not you.
I can be.
Different Padster.
If I get a call, I can be.
The thing is you can't because you're in Coventry.
Don Love.
So- Don Love, right?
Nah,
Chris
I'd have
Camp.
Honeyman personally.
George Honeyman.
Yeah, Honeyman or
Honeyman?
McNair.
Yeah,
Oh,
Honeyman,
that's
Honeyman over
Yeah,
McNair.
I think it'll be Honeyman.
I would say McNair, but like you've got to pick someone who's actually going to be not injured all
Consistently play.
Yeah.
Consistently be consistent.
season. And
6
McNair's
every
going to
week.
need time to sit down and rest. in
Okay.
between games.
David Smith asks, contractually stroke legally, can we simply utilise Jack Rodwell as an odd jobs man and have him grafting 24/7 like some Chinese sweatshop? We pay his wages and obviously don't care if we piss him
Well, you
off,
just
as he'll never play again anyway. Get him single-handedly painting the red seats.
We just rename him Odd Job and he can have a metal hat that he can throw at people.
Right. I don't think actually you probably could do that.
No, you can't.
Yeah, I bet it's massively
It's
illegal,
probably-
but I love where your head's at.
Yeah, I mean,
That's a good concept.
Can he not just fuck off?
Can we not just pay him to like just sit in the Premier Concourse by himself so we can say we
I
haven't
think so.
actually closed it?
right in the
Like,
middle.
Now, like,
Actually, no, because that'll be someone's seat and they'll be really annoyed.
No, not in the Premier Concourse.
That'll be
It's
next to the
closed, man.
directors.
Oh. No, I mean like you were in like someone's seat
The
last
Premier
season.
Concourse is not that full.
Should we
I'm
buy a
sure
box
you'll
room?
find an empty seat. That's
Buy a
why
box
they
for him
closed
at
it.
St James's Park or something.
Why they'll cheer him
Let them
on?
all shout at him or something like that.
Okay.
Can we not hire him to come in the podcast and then like just like nail
I'm
down?
not paying him.
and just leave him here?
I mean, like,
He's getting paid now.
tell him he's already been
Tell him.
paid. Yeah, can Donald not send him here just so I can use him as a footstool?
Should all at Connor Bromley ways of how to get rid of Rodwell. He's going to love to getting all these retweets all night.
Hashtag rid of Rodwell.
As many as possible.
fair, because
any
we've recorded
vitriol
later,
you've got
this
for Rodwell,
podcast
just
will
tweet it
probably
all
go
at Connor, and
wrong.
Connor will tell him everything. Swear words, the lot. Just tweet it all to Connor all night.
I
At
use
Connor
my
Bromley.
direct line to Jack Rodwell.
That's exactly what Connor will want to do
If
on
you're not sure
Monday
which
night.
account is the one of the profile picture that looks like the advanced hair clinic. Bad
Harsh. Burn. I don't care. Nichols has got worse hair than me.
It's not that. It's just the photo looks like the advert.
Do you know what it is, right? I'm sorry that I got professional headshots, right?
Like, you could have had a full
helps
head
my
of hair, and I
career.
still would have made the
The amount
point.
of people who have hired me on the basis of them pictures, I can count on one hand.
Nobody.
No,
Roker Rapport.
I didn't have them when I joined. And Roker Rapport don't pay us, so it's not really a job.
I was gonna say.
It's a hobby. Yeah.
Oh, harsh. Take that,
You're
guy.
putting your hand up. Nichols put his hand up because you get paid.
I don't.
Disgusting.
I've got a hat on. Because he said mention my hair.
I don't want to see your face. It's a horrible hat. Why'd you get a green hat?
I like how Nichols did a visual gag on an audio podcast.
Right, okay. So we're done. That should be everything. Reminder to follow us all on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Well, don't follow me on Facebook. You can follow us on Instagram, right? Follow Roker Report, basically, is what I'm saying. And, you know, you can follow Nichols if you want. I wouldn't advise it. You put
I wouldn't either.
shit jokes about Sony. We also have YouTube videos on a weekly basis. That's pretty much just me at the minute because nobody else wants to come to Blythe even though I offer a lift.
Fuck that.
Disgusting.
And you offer a lift to Blythe. That's like,
I picked them up from a metro, let's be honest.
it's like, do you want to walk through this dog shit? I mean, I'll drag you.
That's so hard. Have you even been to Blythe?
I've gone all the way to Blythe with Connor.
Couldn't even tell you which direction it is. I know it's like,
north.
yeah, it's like up.
Northumberland. Yeah, it's nice. Some say it's it's the biggest town in Northumberland. It's basically a capital C.
Newcastle's in Northumberland?
No, it's not in Tyne and Weir.
Ooh,
Is it?
Are you going historical counties or are you going
Yes,
like current
historical.
counties?
Because Blythe's
Well,
shit.
historic. Well, I
He still
suppose
reckons Carlisle's in
currently
Westmoreland.
We're in Durham right now, then. So that just doesn't work. No, man, we'll go off recent ones. You know, if it's on Look North, that's all it's worth.
That's how you have to gauge it.
Yeah,
It's on Look
Same.
North.
Right.
Tweet at Pam Morrill and ask.
We've got some more special guests hopefully coming on from the club. Can't divulge who, but hopefully will be happening soon. Although Stuart Donald did say he was coming back on, so if he doesn't, then I'll send him a letter or an angry text.
Called out, Stu. Called out.
Yeah,
Send an angry text.
yeah. So hopefully we'll have Stuart Donald back on.
I'll Snapchat him.
Send him nudes.
Well, I mean, take me to
Invite him for some soggy biscuit patty.
Yeah.
Oh, you've mentioned that.
We've also
We've officially hit the watershed of when we should have stopped doing the podcast.
We've also got World Cup podcast coming up. I'm not actually sure what's going to happen with that because apparently my studio's closed at 5 o'clock. So we'll have to see.
We'll figure it out.
Right, okay, we're done. Thanks for listening. If you've stuck for the full hour and 15 minutes, then well done.
God bless you.
You've done well.
Thank you.
Because to be honest, I'm even getting sick now.
If you've stuck for this long, God bless you, and go
Yeah.
find your family, talk to them, give them a hug. Just don't even worry. We're there for you. Go find some friends. Go down your local pub, have a beer, talk to someone, socialise. You'll be okay.
We aren't going anywhere.
Nope.
That's good.
League.
Right,
Love done love.
we're done. We're done.
Dun 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 dun
What?
dun 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 dun.
Read them out.